can't, if you know you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so now. They're sending the YouTube, the link to your chat section so that you can subscribe. It is important that you subscribe so that anytime we upload a new video, you could watch it. Right? It's so important. So today, in this class, we are going to discuss the creative media practice. And like always, I'll tell you that this class is already available in the Link School app. So if you go to the Link School app, you can download this material I'm going to present. And I hope you guys can see my screen. I hope you guys can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Right? Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Yeah. If you can see my screen, let me know that. Okay, fine. That's fine. Okay. Okay, fine. You, everyone are welcome. So you can see my screen, and also if you can have a clear audio, let me know so that we are so sure that you are carrying everyone along in this class. Okay, fine. So, fine. Okay, fine, beautiful. I think we have a confirmation from YouTube that everybody can hear me and everyone can see my screen. So we can proceed immediately, yeah, in understanding the creative media practice. Right? So welcome everyone to today's lesson. And like I said, if you are following from YouTube, if you're following from Zoom, you are all welcome to the lesson, Understanding Creative Media Practice. Remember, this is part of the TVET Creative Media Production Program. And the TVET Creative Media Production Program is a project of the IDS project, which is being monitored by the Federal Ministry of Education with support from the World Bank. Digital Dreams ICT Academy remains your training service provider for this program. And you are quite welcome. So let's move on. Today we are going to learn about teamwork, leadership in creative media. It is so important that we learn about this because the film industry is quite collaborative. The creative media industry requires a whole lot of collaboration. No film, no photograph, no animation or broadcast is created by one person alone. The industry, from Nollywood production to music videos in Lagos, process comes from many skilled professionals working together towards a shared mission. We need to understand this. We need to understand that we all need to work together to create an outstanding work. There is no way you could actually do it all alone. You must learn how to collaborate. So in this class, we are going to teach teamwork, leadership, and professional conduct. Let's move on. So why is creative media collaborative? We have to understand that creative media is so collaborative. You could see, just take a sample of that picture by your right-hand side. You could see the camera operator, the cinematographer there. You could see the director with the script. You could see actors. You could see the sound recorders. You could see all these professionals come together to produce a video. And it's important, whether it is a Nollywood film or a music shoot, right, in anywhere, or even a documentary, it requires many specialized skills working together. And that is why it's important. You must learn how to work in a team. Right? Now, understanding that the foundation of movie making, the foundation of the creative media is collaboration. There are multiple specialized skills. Production requires directors, cinematographers, sound engineers, editors, and more. And each bring unique expertise to the project. Also, you have interconnected tasks. Every department depends on each other. The camera work relies on lighting. The sound needs proper timing, and editing requires quality footage. So all the different tasks are interconnected, and collaboration improves creativity, efficiency, and the final output quality through diverse perspective and shared problem solving. Remember when we described the different roles in the creative media? One of the features we always say that was common in all of them is a problem solving skill. Because in every of the production work, you can't efficiate everything. So you must have a very good problem solving skill. But you must also know how to solve problems in a team. So it's not just about having a technical knowledge or knowing how to solve problem by yourself. You need to know how to get a diverse number of persons to solve a problem together. So this is quite important. So why do teamwork matter in production? One is that it ensures safety and coordination on sets. It enables effective problem solving under pressure. It creates a structure in large production. It builds trust among team members, and it maintains clear communication channel. Large production requires structure, communication, and trust to succeed. And you can also understand that the larger the production, the more sophisticated the structure and the communication and trust required to pull off the production, right? So without teamwork, even the most talented individuals cannot deliver quality results. And if you have been on a production set, you will understand this. And if you have ever been in a film production, a movie production set, or a broadcast set, you can just tell us on the comment section if you have ever been in any of them. And also mention what was your experience. I will read it out later. You understand? So if you have ever been in the production set, what was your experience? Put it in the comment section, right? So let's move on. Now, you understanding that is important, right? Because it makes you being a good team member. And you need to be a good team member, right? Being a good team member means that you will be able to work in a group with a group of people without rancor. Talent might get you noticed, but teamwork keep you what? Employed. In the Nigerian creative media industry, your reputation is built on how well you work with others. It is quite important. And being a good team member makes you build a professional reputation. You'll be able to reliably build trust, be accountable, right? And if you're accountable, it creates confidence in people who you work with. So by taking responsibility for your own work, your mistake, it builds trust and strengthens what? Relationship. Then positive behavior inspires. It's important that professional conduct create positive work environment that elevates everyone's performance. So moving forward, let's look at the career impact of good teamwork, right? You being a good team member supports the success of the entire project, not just your individual contribution, right? In the creative community, remember that word travels fast about how reliable and how professional you behave. And as a good team member, you'll be able to adapt to changes and pressure, and you can turn challenges into opportunities for growth. The key benefit of being a good team member and good teamwork is that it enhances your learning opportunities. You have stronger professional network, better career advancement, increased creative output, and long-term employment. If you have noticed for the last 2 to 3 lessons, we have all been talking about the soft skills that are necessary for you to operate as a professional creative, about a professional in the creative media space. Without these soft skills, no matter your technical skill, you will still end up a failure. And that's not what we wish for any of our trainees, right? Also, another key benefit of a good teamwork is that it increased creative output and you have long-term employment. Now, what are the key elements of effective team membership? For you to actually be effective as a team member, what are the elements that are required to form the foundation of your professional practice? One, you must understand the creative vision. For every production that you join, you need to take your time to understand the creative vision. You should know the project goals, understand what the production aims to achieve, whether it is a Nollywood drama, commercial, or documentary. Also, you need to align your work. Ensure your contribution support the overall creative direction and production vision. You don't come over and come to a production set with your own agenda. Avoid personal agenda. This is one of the things that make you not to be a good team member, is going to a product with your own agenda. As a professional, your paramount objectives is achieving the project goal. Some of you, let me say personal agenda, some actually come to set, right, to see if they can seduce a woman. That is so unprofessional, right? You come to this and your job, your personal agenda is to see if there is a member of caste or group you can seduce or you could assault. That's the personal. You are coming to set to find a way you can steal the work for personal gain. That's a personal agenda. And in most of these cases, if you do any of these things, you might end your career. Also, you must respect your role. You need to clearly understand your assigned responsibility and how they fit into the larger production. Focus on executing your tasks excellently rather than overstepping in other people's areas. You don't, if you are a gaffer, right, for instance, focus on making sure you are executing the task clearly and providing good lighting direction. Don't be an overstudy and be poking your noses in areas that you are not at. Respect the role and expertise of other team members. Each person brings specialized skills that contribute to the project process, and you must understand that and respect that. You must also follow the chain of command, right? As a crew member, you need to report issues and follow your supervisor's instruction, right? It is so important. If you're a department head, right, you need to supervise crew and escalate to the director of producer as fast as you see gaps. If you're a director or producer, you need to make final decisions, quick, and resolve conflict. It is important you do all this. Now, taking instruction from your appropriate supervisor communicates that you are a professional. And one of the things that people do on set that is always quite unprofessional is jumping your chain of command. You, as a crew member that is supposed to report to probably the department head, you don't jump the department head and go directly to the director of production. It is not proper. You must follow the chain of command. If you're a crew member, report to your department head, and your department head will now report the issue to your director and producer. Don't jump the chain of command. Avoid bypassing leadership or giving unauthorized direction, as this creates confusion and undermines production structure. It is important, right? So let's move on. Also, as a team member, you must learn how to communicate clearly and professionally. First of all, when we come to communication, people always think that communication is about talking. It is not only about talking. Communication is 70% listening and 30% talking. So you could see that is why we say listen actively. Don't listen to defend yourself. Listen to understand. Some people listen to respond, and it's a very bad communication style. Listen to understand. Don't listen to respond. Pay full attention to instructions and feedback. Clarify anything you don't understand immediately. Don't assume you understand it. If there is any ambiguity in what is explained to you, ask for clarification. It is important. And I will repeat it a couple of times in this because communication is one of the biggest problems on sets. People find it difficult to listen and listen actively. We are teaching you to become a professional. And one of the key skill of a professional is the ability to listen actively. Also, you must speak clearly and use correct media terminology and communicate concisely, especially in fast-paced production environment, right? Make sure you understand the lingo, as we say, right? Which is the language of production, so that when you can actually make the right call, so that you don't confuse people by making the wrong calls. Another thing you must learn how to do is to use non-verbal cues. Understand and use appropriate non-verbal communication on set when silence is allowed, is required, sorry. In some cases, while production, silence is always required. And when silence is required, what should you do? You use non-verbal cues. And they will also show you so much of these non-verbal cues you could use. The fifth is that you must be reliable and accountable. And I repeat it, you must be reliable and accountable. Arrive early and arrive prepared. Show up on time with everything you need to perform your role effectively. So you don't come on set and tell them, hey, I'm here, but I forgot this, I forgot that, I need to go back to the house and get this, and the other one. No. Once you're sounding like that, you are already very unprofessional. You must arrive on time and arrive with everything you need. So before you make your way to this production set, you must ask yourself, is there anything that is required to get this job done that I'm not with? So always do that check. You must always meet deadlines, right? Respect production schedule and deliver your work when promised. When you promise to deliver a job, make sure you deliver it and on time. Remember, this will become part of your personal brand and becomes part of what you'll be known for. So it is quite important. Another thing you must do is that you must own your mistake. Take responsibility for errors and work quickly to correct them. Don't find who to blame. That is what we always sometimes see on sets. once there is an error, people start finding who to blame rather than owning their own mistake. Please learn to own your mistake as a professional, right? The next is collaborating. Next is collaborating and supporting others. You must learn how to collaborate and support others, right? You must learn how to collaborate and support others. You must have the collaborative spirit. It is so important. Don't have an antagonistic spirit. So there are some people who have antagonistic spirits. For everywhere they are antagonizing people, right? Work cooperatively with team members across all departments. It is important that we learn how to work collaboratively, not start becoming a stumbling block to others. Let's learn that. Offer help when appropriate and share information that supports the production the team. Some people hold information as if the information is their lifeblood. We need to understand that. Right? In the industry, collaboration often extend beyond formal roles, right? Being willing to assist others builds strong professional relationship and creates a positive reputation. Now, maintaining your professional conduct on site. First of all, show respect, treat everyone with dignity, regardless of their role or seniority level. Stay disciplined, maintain focus, and follow set protocols, even during long shooting days. It is also important that you maintain a positive attitude. Bring energy and enthusiasm that lifts the entire team's morale, right? Then also learn how to control your emotions. Stay composed under pressure and handle stress professionally. It is important we talk about handling stress because in most cases, the production set is always a very stressful environment, right? You shoot in sometimes very harsh weather conditions and even very long takes, very long hours. So you must learn how to be composed under pressure and handle stress professionally. So in the fast-paced environment with multiple things happening simultaneously, you must always learn that no matter the unique challenges that you meet on set, maybe from power outages to weather changes, you must require quick adaptation. You must learn how to adapt speedily to the changing production environment. Adapt to last-minute changes on schedule, location, or creative direction without complaints. There are some people, for every single change on set, they will shout, oh, they will be grumbling. And no, if you are someone who keep grumbling at any time there are changes or unforeseen circumstances set, you are acting unprofessional. Instead of complaining, you should be asking, how can we solve the problem? That's your ability to put on your thinking cap at any point in time to solve problems should always remain with you. Remain focused during stressful situations, maintaining quality work even when conditions are challenging. You need to develop that ability and that habit because it leads to your professionalism. You could see that we are stressing so much on the soft skills because even if you have the best technical skill, without this production, without understanding of safety, for instance, or without understanding of professionalism and ethics, you will still not make it in the industry. So you need to have these skills. Another thing you must know how to do is what? Handle conflict professionally. It is a given that in almost every set, there will be conflict. Because once you bring 2 to 3 to 4 persons together, there are bound to be conflict. But these conflicts can be handled professionally. And when they're handled professionally, it even sometimes improves the relationship of the people on set and even leads to a better quality work. One of the key things about handling conflict professionally is address people respectfully, handle disagreements with dignity and professionalism, never publicly or even privately be aggressive is important. Concentrate on resolving the issues rather than assigning blame or dwelling on problems or even castigating people's character. So some people, when they're having a conflict, they are saying, you are a fool, you're a very stupid person. Why did you do this? No, you should not use such words, right? If someone made a mistake probably on set, you should be able to say, instead of you say, you are a fool, why did you do this? You should say, this is a mistake we have done, and let's look at how we can solve this mistake. And that leads to a better conflict management resolution. Also, you must learn how to accept feedback. You must know how to receive constructive criticism without being defensive. Yes, you cannot always do the work that will be appreciated by everyone. Some people will criticize your work. And in some cases, they are right. You must learn how to accept criticism without being defensive, because that's the only way you can grow. The mark of someone who is going to be great is the ability to accept criticism and make correction when due. So please don't take criticism as a personal attack, because that is what most people see that. Be professional and listen attentively to what the person is criticizing and make explanation if you feel so, and make corrections if they are necessary. Also, you must learn how to practice safety and responsibility. Remember, we have always been saying safety first. Follow all safety rules and briefings without what exceptions. Your safety and others depend on your safety principles and briefings. Learn how to handle equipment carefully and only when authorized. Report hazard or risk immediately to supervisors. Wear required safety gear on set. Never take shortcuts that compromise safety. And stay alert to your surroundings at all times. We can never overemphasize safety. You could see that for the last 3 lessons, I've been shouting on top of my lungs, safety, safety, safety. You will not understand what it means on set, right? If you take it lightly, it might ruin your entire career and production. So please, never take safety lightly, right? One of the things also you must learn is that you must learn how to protect your team's trust and confidentiality, right? When people tell you something in confidence, learn to respect the confidentiality of that information. Keep confidential information private, including unreleased content, creative concepts, and business details. Avoid unauthorized sharing. Never share behind the scenes content or production details on social media without explicit permission. I know this is important. I'll tell you people have a story. There was a production in Enugu which I was involved with, and they had to go and shoot in a school. And they were wearing the school uniform of the student as part of the production school. It was in a secondary school. Now, when they finished shooting, one of the actresses and one of the actors were just playing and video and recording themselves with their phone, and they kiss themselves in banter, just playing, right? And after they have done that, they publish that behind the scene photo on the internet, on their social media pages. Remember, they were still wearing the school uniform of the school. So when people saw that on the social media, they called the school because they thought that those two, the actor and the actress, that they were students, and said, "Is this what your school is now into? That students are kissing themselves and publishing it on social media?" That created a scandal for the school. Remember, we are still discussing behind the scenes shot. Because of that scandal, the entire scenes that were involved in the school, because the school withdrew their consent immediately, and the entire scenes that were shot in the school were cancelled. And that doubled the production cost of that production. So you can imagine what it means. That singular unprofessional conduct led people to a huge loss in their production. So avoid unauthorized sharing. Because in the world of social media today, you see people that are on set and they are sharing behind the scene show without authorization. And sometimes the producer or the director might not authorize it because it might leak some plot points. So please, if you have to share any behind the scene, make sure it's authorized. You also must learn how to build trust through actions. Demonstrate honesty and integrity consistently to earn and maintain your team's trust. It is quite important. Now that we have looked at how to become a good team member, what if you are the leader and you need to create? What if you are the director or the producer and you need to create an effective creative production team? How will you do that? Right? So you could imagine what it takes that you are the director, you are the leader, because the director is the leader in the production set. How can you, if you aim to be a director, create an effective creative production set? I want to hear your opinions at this point, right? If you're the director on set, how do you think you can create an effective creative production team? Because you think a good team is created. You don't just say it. You don't just bring 6 people on set and they just form a team, right? In this, we are going to look at what it required. What are the things you need to do for you to create an effective creative production team? Building a successful production team requires a whole lot. It requires strategic planning, clear communication, understanding of both creative and technical needs, right? And there are 12 steps that will help guide the process of creating an effective production team. And let's dive into them. Step 1 is that you need to define your creative vision and project goal. It all starts with this. An effective team starts with a clear understanding of what you are creating. You need to define the project objective, whether it is a film, a music video, commercial, a documentary, and establish the creative vision and expected outcome. You must also learn how to communicate the success criteria to all team members so that everyone works together in the same goal. You don't bring people and you don't tell them your goal, you don't tell them your vision, you don't tell them how you want things to work, you don't tell them how you expect success to be defined, and you want them to work effectively. It doesn't work. You must have that vision and you must communicate that vision to the entire team. Another thing you must do is that you must identify the required skills and roles. determine, assuming you're a producer, for instance, you must be able to determine what are the different skills and example, the creative roles. You must be able to identify the director, the writer, the designer, the editor, the cinematographer, the art director, or probably the technical roles, which might include the camera operator, the sound engineer, the lighting technician, VFX artist, IT support, and the rest. And the support roles, maybe the production manager, the assistant director, the script supervisor, the production assistant, right? All these requires different specialization. And in every creative production requires specialization. So you need to determine all required roles and avoid overlap that can cause confusion. Why does this matter? The right skill in the right role improves quality and efficiency. And you must also communicate these roles to them. And going forward, this is also important. You must select the right team members. You see why we have been shouting as a team member, right? That you having professionalism as one of the things that you are strong in. Because skill is not enough. So in choosing the right skill member, you have to choose not only on competence, but also their attitude. Technical ability matters, but also does ethics. If someone is professional and works ethically, you understand that that is the kind of person that you should bring in your team. You need to also consider character, evaluate reliability, discipline, and teamwork ability. Check references and past work relationship. One of the things you must do as a director or a producer is that if before you hire someone that has not worked with you before, please ensure you call people that you are so sure that have worked with them before, so that you can know the character of the team member you are bringing. Because one of the things about a bad team member is that it can destroy the entire team spirit and delay and cause a whole lot of loss for you. Because, for instance, a bad team member, instead of doing his or her work, might actually be antagonistic to the team or even start fighting other crew members and destroy some equipment. So you can imagine the amount of loss you have if that happens. You must also learn how to balance your team. Balance creativity with technical expertise. Because diverse perspective strengthens the final product. A good team attitude works better under pressure and deliver consistent results. It's important because you have to understand that the creative media environment is most of the time quite tough and challenging. So you need a good team. Next, you must define roles and responsibilities clearly. Eliminate ambiguity. Assign clear responsibility to each role. Specify who makes decisions and who supports those decisions, and ensure everyone understands their scope of work and boundaries. This is also where you need a contract. Document roles in writing and review them with the team. This prevents misunderstanding, creates accountability. Remember, we said document it in writing. Write to them. Don't wake up and assume they know, or you only do verbal communication. Write it. Clarity prevents duplication, delays, and power struggles that delay production. Power struggle is one of the things that is always present on set. But by actually clearly defining roles and responsibility, you reduce power struggles. Right? You must establish leadership and chain of command. If you look at the graph, right? If you look at the graph, most directions, right, will have to come from the director on set. The director makes the final decision and he's the production lead on set. As a creative director, as the director, he's the creative lead of every production, right? Then every of his decision is transferred to the departmental heads and they manage those departments and report to the director, right? Then under those departments' heads are the crew members. They are the ones that execute tasks and report to the departmental heads. Every production needs clear direction. Appoint a team-led leader or a project head with final decision-making authority, right? Also, define the reporting lines. So everybody knows who they report to and who reports to them. Ensure production flows through the right channel. This prevents confusion and maintains order on sets. Why it matters? Clear leadership keeps production organized and focused. And you could imagine why this is important. Imagine a large set, for instance, like the production set for Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. There might be up to 300 or 400 persons that are working as crew members. 400 persons cannot report to one person, the director. So there must be a chain of command. There might even be 4 reporting lines in that case. So we need to understand that. And as a director, or you being the one making the final decision, make sure that you have a maximum of 6 persons that report directly to you, because that's the maximum number that statistically has been found that people can manage. Another step you must do is that you must build trust and positive team culture. Encourage respect. Encourage your team to show respect by showing respect to your team. Promote professionalism and mutual respect across all roles and departments. Promote openness. Create space for idea sharing and creative input from all teams. Then create safety. Build an environment where feedback is welcome and mistakes are learning opportunity. When people make mistakes, don't punish them as if they have committed a heinous crime. Create a space where mistakes become learning opportunities. Thus improves collaboration and creative confidence, leading to better teamwork. Now we have looked at the step 6 required in building a positive team culture. Now, the next one you need to look at, you need to also set communication system and rules. Communication is the backbone of production. So define clear communication channels like meeting, call, walkie-talkies, and hand signals for on-set work. For large productions, you must be using a walkie-talkie. So if you see big sets, you see that almost everyone is using a walkie-talkie. And sometimes they have large public address systems to actually communicate to different team members. Establish rules for giving and receiving instruction. Encourage active listening and clarification when needed. One of the things you must do when actually sending instruction is to, if you tell them, please go up and set up the lights. Maybe you are telling your gaffer. You will now have to tell them, do you copy or do you understand? He needs to say, yes, I understand. And 3, ask them to probably repeat, confirm they understand what it is. So you can say, can you confirm that you understand what I'm saying? The person can say, I confirm. In that case, you have given an instruction. You have also confirmed that the person has received it and understood it, right? You must also have very good communication tools. Know that you have to always have pre-production meetings, daily call sheets, a walkie-talkie protocol if you are using it. People should know how to use it and have a protocol for using it. Hand signals on sets. You must tell your crew members your hand signals and what they mean. Then you might also have a group messaging app like WhatsApp, Telegram for proper team communication is important. Clear communication reduces error, rework, and wasted time. Also, as a director or the producer or the team lead, you must also learn how to promote collaboration and team support. Encourage teamwork over competition. Always hammer this to your team that what is required is teamwork. Foster a collaborative environment where success is shared and celebrated collectively. This is very important. If there is success, learn how to celebrate it collectively. Don't just ascribe it to only one person and say, thank one person in the team that they are doing well. If they are doing well, make sure that their success is always celebrated collectively. And also when there are mistakes, also talk about it collectively. Don't single people out unjustly their mistakes. Also support cross-functional collaboration. Make sure you find a way where your gaffer, your lighting department can help your cinematography department or your sound department. Break down silos between departments and encourage knowledge sharing across specialization. You must also learn how to recognize collective achievements. Celebrate team wins and acknowledge contributions from all departments because collaboration enhances creativity and problem-solving ability. It's important we happen what collaboration. Another step that is required for you to build a strong team culture is you need to plan time, workflow, and coordination. You need to have, for every of your production, you need to have master your schedule. So that even under time pressure, which is normal in production, you can follow your schedule. Learn how to set realistic timeline and deadline that account for the different production realities, like traffic, weather, power supply. So you don't go and say you are going to finish your shoot in 2 days, right? When in reality, it's meant to take 4 days. And in every in the production set, everybody's stressed out, deadlines are not met, and everybody's frustrated. Coordinate tasks and dependencies clearly, and monitor progress regularly, and adjust as needed. Build buffer time for unexpected delays. You must always, in your deadline, add some buffer time. Good coordination keep production on schedule and within budget. And it is quite important. Let's move on to the next step. One of the things you must understand as the person leading a creative team is that you must prepare for conflicts and manage it professionally. You can see this is the second time conflict is coming. We are discussing conflict. We have discussed conflicts, how to work on conflict as a team member. We are now discussing how to manage conflict as a leader. But we are also going to go deeper into conflict management. You know why? Because conflict is one of the things that creates a whole lot of problems on production sets and make production shoot above budget and time allocation. You must learn how to identify conflicts early. Recognize common source of conflict before they escalate into major issues. It is quite important. You must address conflicts respectfully, handle disagreement with professionalism, and focus on the issues, not personalities. And you must also focus on solutions. Move quickly from problem identification to resolution and implementation. Healthy conflict management preserves team unity and production momentum. It is very important we understand and manage conflicts professionally. Step 11 is support learning and skill development, right? You must have to encourage your team to learn, create opportunities for your team members to develop new skills, right? And expand their capacities. It is so important. And you as the lead, you must learn how to share knowledge generously. Promote mentorship and experience by sharing between your senior and junior members, right? So your senior and junior members should be able to share knowledge within themselves so that mentorship can be available within your team. And you must also learn to adapt to the different changes. So you must learn to adapt to innovation, right? It is so important. And techniques and industry best practices. Right? A learning team stay relevant, innovative, and competitive in the industry. And it's important we learn how to create an environment where learning is quite supported. The last step you need to understand about creating an effective team is that you need to learn how to evaluate team performance and improve. Review team performance after each production, identify what worked and what needs improvement, gather feedback from all team members. Also learn to document lessons learned and apply them for future projects. Celebrate success and address weaknesses constructively. Continuous improvement builds long-term team success and professional growth. So we must understand that we have to keep evaluating our team performances and suggesting areas where we can improve. Let's look at the structure of a creative team. You could look at the chart by your left, and you will understand that on the top of the chart will be what? The executive producer. Executive producer is the person who brings the resources for the production. Then after the executive producer, we have the producer, right? And the producer is the one who manages the entire production. We have also explained that earlier. And between the producer, you have now the director, right? The director have the director, the assistant director, the script supervisor, and you will see the different production chains. You need to understand this. Now, when we are showing you this charts, is that you understand where you play and the different departments. You could see when you come to different departments, you have probably the art department, the sound, the production designing, the set decoration department, the camera and the things that they make up. And so there are a whole lot of departments. So if you are playing in any of these things, you should be able to know where you play and the different roles you have in the production team. Understanding the team structure is essential for effective collaboration, right? And production range from small independent projects to large-scale production, and each requires different organizational approaches. But this is the standard organizational structure that is adopted in most productions. And in most productions, you have the creative role and the technical role. The creative roles are the roles that focus on artistic vision, the storytelling, the aesthetic decisions. This include the director, writer, production, designer, editor, cinematographer. And we have the technical roles. These are the people who focus on equipment operation, technical execution, quality control, and it includes the camera operator, sound engineer, lighting technician, the VFX artist. Both creative and technical roles are equally important because success requires seamless integration between artistic vision and technical execution. Right? We have always said that this is the chain of command on set. You must know that. The director first is the ultimate on-set authority. Know that after the director, you have what? The assistant director and the heads of different departments. After that, AD, the assistant director and the heads of different departments, which report directly to the director. You have the crew members and the production assistants, right? So these are the chains of command. The chain of command ensures that there's a clear communication and decision making. Instruction flows downwards from the proper channel, while issues are reported upwards through the same channel. This prevent confusion and maintain order during production. So you must understand the chain of command on every production set. We have all discussed the different key production roles: the director, the first assistant director. There might be a second assistant director or even a third assistant director, depending on how large the production is. This managing, right? Then we have the cinematographer, the sound mixer, the gaffer, the production designer. These are different key roles on set. So that you don't go on set and say, when they say AD, you don't know what it means. They say cinematographer, you don't know what it means. Please have an understanding of these key production rules. Now that we have looked at the production rules, let's look at communication and collaboration in teams. Remember, we have talked about communication, but we need to deepen your understanding of communication. And so that you can understand the lingo. When we say the lingo are the words that are used on set, the technical words that are used on set. So you don't get confused. So that not when the director says cut, maybe you take a knife and cut something, or camera rolling or rolling, you think that something is rolling. So let's look at this. All right. But before we go on this, like I asked you guys earlier if you have been on set. And I don't think let me check if there is someone who says they have been on set. Right? Okay. Well, if you have been on set, please mention, because some say they enjoyed it, right? But if you have been on set, you understand that there are words that are being used on set that is not, that you'll be new to, right? And I will try to use the most common one. I'll ask just 2 questions, and so that we could also allow you to participate, right? If you hear the word action, the very first thing I say, I'll ask is, what does it mean? Right? And who says the word action? Right? The word action, what does it mean? And who says the word action? Please, if you know what it means, you can tell us on the comment section, right? Who says the word action on set? Let me take some answers here. Okay. Johanna Isua says that action means start acting, and it being said by the director. Nice one, nice answer. Esther Walabi says the director that says it. Angela Erochukwu said it means start, and the director says it means start, the director says it. Erochukwu says the director that says action. Okay. Why you say it means start what? Right? Action means that this acting begins, right? Okay, the director says the word action, it means to start acting. Okay, fine. I think a round of applause for everyone that answered. They should say, the director says the word action, right? And it means start the action, start acting. Okay, but the word, who says camera rolling? And what does it mean? And who says the phrase camera rolling, and what does it really mean? Okay, if you know who says the word camera rolling and what does it mean, you can tell us also in the comment section. Okay, Angelo Ochuku says it's cinematographer or DOP, and it means Adam Oluchi says cinematographer. King says the DOP, and it means recording have started. Chris, you say camera rolling is said by the director of photography, right? Means he has started recording, right? Okay, fine. Now, I think you guys are getting to understand why this is important. Because if you're on set, you are showing, some people want us to, they are learning cinematography, they just want to jump on set and carry camera and start learning camera operations. That's not how it works. You must learn how to even understand the words used on set. You must understand ethics. You understand how to work as a team on set, right? Because technical skill might even be the last thing you require. The first thing you require is to understand how all these things work. So you could see, Enugu TM Gloria says the director say camera rolling, it means recording starts. I will show you who said, anybody show you who says sports and what it means. We'll go into proper understanding what's the difference, what's mean, and what the lingo means. Okay, let's move on. What's the importance of communication before we go to understand that communication in production saves time? Clear communication prevents misunderstanding that leads to retakes and delays. It also ensures safety. Proper communication protocol prevents accidents and equipment damage. It maintains quality. Accurate information sharing ensures that everyone works towards the same standard. Proper communication also builds trust because honest communication strengthens team relationship. And on set, there is verbal communication. You need to know how to speak clearly using proper media terminology that everyone understands. Speak loudly enough to be heard, but avoid shouting unnecessarily. Be concise because production environment requires quick, clear information exchange. Confirm understanding by repeating back instructions is important. And also learn how to ask questions immediately if something is clear. Never assume you understand if you don't. Now, also let's look at non-verbal communication on set. One of the non-verbal communication on set is what? Hand signals. It's essential when silence is required during takes. Standard signals include raised hand for stop, circular motion for roll, and finger to the lips for silence. Also, you must understand eye contact, right? Eye contact confirms attention and understanding without speaking, and it is critical for silent coordination during recording. Then body language, posture and positioning communicates readiness, attention, professionalism without word. You don't come on set and we're about starting and your body posture, you are laid back. No, you should sit or stand at alert because your body posture signals that you are alert and you're ready for the next process. Okay, let's look at how you should be able to give verbal and non-verbal instruction. While giving instructions, be specific and concise. Confirm the recipient understand. Remember, I've mentioned this again. Make sure that for every instruction you give on set, you confirm that the recipient understand and also learn how to use appropriate tone and what? Respect. While receiving, ask clarifying questions if you don't understand and repeat back to confirm understanding. It is important. And when you have a given instruction, make sure you follow through. Execute instructions as given. And when you execute an instruction, you must learn to report completion or problems immediately. If you are told to do something in a production set, when you do it, come back or report back that you have done that. It is so important. Never assume also changes without approval. When you are given instruction and you reach there and there are changes to be made, please ask for approval before you make those changes. Okay? So moving on, this will help you learn how to work collaboratively under pressure, because production environments are inherently high pressure with tight schedules, budget constraints, and creative demands. So this will test and stress you. So you must learn how to actually operate in a team and follow the team dynamics. Stay calm and focus on your tasks. Support team members who are struggling and communicate problems early before they become crises. And these are some ways you could manage pressure during production. First of all, is that you need to breathe and stay centered, right? Learn how to do breathe in heavily and breathe out to take in some volume of air. And you must also learn to focus on one task at a time. Ask for help when needed and take breaks when possible. Learn how to take breaks and keep your perspective as a priority. It is important. Moving forward, let's look at common communication call on a media set. These are standard production calls that ensures everyone understands what is happening and what's expected. These calls are universal across production and must be used correctly. Now, let's look at the core calls. The first one is quiet on set. It means it is being said by what? The director or the first AD. It means that what? Silence is required. The recording is about to begin. And what is your response when someone say quiet on set? You should stop what? Talking, silence your phones, and hold your position. Another call on set is what? Roll sound. This can be said by what? The director or the first AD. It means that the sound department should start recording. It means, what should you do when you hear roll sound? It means you should set up your sound mixers and start what? Recording. The word, when you hear the call sound rolling, this is said by the sound mixer or the sound recorders. It means that he has started recording what? Sound. And it is a confirmation to the first call, roll sound. So on set, you hear roll sound being said by the director, and the sound recorders will reply, right? Sound rolling, right? The next is roll camera, for instance. It's being said by the director of first AD, right? It means the camera should start recording. And what should be the response of the what? Of the camera operator, right? The person should start recording the camera. The camera operator should start recording. And if you start recording, he will actually say what? Camera rolling. That is a confirmation that he has started what? Rolling. So camera rolling is said by the camera operator. Remember, I asked you guys that question. And it means that what? The camera recording has started, right? At the correct speed. And it is only confirmation, only. When you hear camera rolling, it's confirmation only, right? Okay. And please, everyone should remember that if you are using the Link School app, that you have access. This slide is already been uploaded to the Link School app, so you can download it. You can go to the Link School app and download it and have all this information. as we continue. So as we continue, you have to what? You can download this slide. Then we have talked about camera rolling. Then we have the next call can be slate or marking. Right? This is being said by the director or the first AD. It means that you should use the clapperboard to mark the take, right? So the response to that is the clapper loader should what? Snap the slate, right? Another call that is important is what? Action. It's what's being said by what? The director. It means that the acting performances should begin. Actors perform and crew become silent and still. That is what's important. The next call is what? Cut. Cut is only said by the director, right? On set. It means that we should all stop what? Recording. Everyone will relax and movement what? Is allowed. One of the two most important calls on set is action. When you hear action, you should always what? Stay still as a crew member. Stay still and silent as a crew member whenever you hear the word action. But when you hear cut, it means you can relax and continue your movement. Now, there are also preparation and what? Readiness calls. You can hear for standby, you can hear be ready, right? If you hear standby, it means that you need to what? If you say a standby call, it means that you need to be ready, that action is what? Imminent. You need to prepare mentally and physically for that take. So when the director shouts, stand by, crew, stand back, remember, stand by, means that you should be ready, that action is imminent, right? Or you hear what? Lock it up. It means prevent noise or movement near the set. Secure doors and what? Stop walking. When you hear what? Lock it up. If you hear something like picture is up, means that recording is about to start. Absolute silence and focus is required at that stage, right? If you hear the call, set is ready, it means that all departments are prepared and it awaits the what? Next instruction from director or the assistant director. Then if you hear what? Last looks, means final check on what? Actors or sets. Makeup and wardrobe should also do quick fixes, and everybody can do last. When they say last look, means everybody should check their different department to see that everything is ready. There are also safety and control calls. If you hear hold, means pause all activities immediately, freeze and wait for what? Further instructions. If you also hear clear, means area must be emptied and leave the space what? Immediately. When you hear watch your step, means there is hazard on ground, move carefully and alert others. If you hear heads, means there is falling objects, right? Or there are some movings overhead. Example, if you have your crane that is moving on top of people's head, you can hear the call. Heads means everybody should protect your head immediately. Then you hear the call. Points means that there are sharp objects nearby. So keep distance and be what? Cautious. Then there are also movement and technical calls. Like rolling means recording has started. Maintain silence means you need to, when you hear rolling has started, means you need to maintain silence and your position. You can hear reset, which means return to the starting position. Means actors and crew need to reset for another take. If you hear the call, going again means the take is going to be repeated. So they are repeating the take. They are preparing for another run immediately. And if you hear the call, playback, means they are reviewing the recorded footage. Everyone should remain silent and attentive. And where you hear rap, means the shooting has ended. You need to begin packing up the equipment. So you can hear a wrap, means you can hear that's a wrap, right? You might see that in different BTS, right? And that's the wrap call, means you are finished shooting, you can begin packing your equipment. Also, there are non-verbal signals, right? One of the first non-verbal signal is a raised hand. When the director raises his hand, it means what? Stop or hold immediately. Immediately freeze all activities. Or a director takes his finger to the lips, means silence is required. Stop all talking immediately. And if a director does a circular hand motion, means roll or continue. Keep going until current action. And another important non-verbal signal is flat palm down, means stay calm or lower your activity, reduce your energy. Then pointing and eye contact. Silent direction means silent direction to specific person. The director can point to someone with an eye contact, means follow indicated action. Now, these are the critical rules about onset calls. The first critical rule is the director's what? Authority. Only the director calls action and thoughts. There is no exception to this rule, right? It is only the director that calls action and thoughts. No, there's no exception. There is also no repetition. The crew members must not repeat calls unless specifically instructed to do so. So it's not when the director calls action, then you as a crew member also shout action again. No, don't repeat the calls. It's important you don't do that. Then there should also be an immediate response, right? When a director makes a call, you should respond immediately, right? Respond immediately, right, to all production calls. Let's give an example. If the director says camera roll, right, it's expected that the cinematographer should say camera rolling, or the DOP should say camera rolling if he has started recording immediately. Then it is important because incorrect calls can ruin takes, waste time, or create safety risk. So it's important we understand that. Now we have looked at calls. Let's look at conflict management strategies on a creative media set, right? What are the different strategies you can use to manage conflict on sets? Because conflict is inevitable in a creative media environment, but how you manage it determines the production success. And understanding conflict management is essential for every media professional. You could see we are talking about conflict now, right? You don't start your production and hope there will be no conflict. You know why? Because hope is never a strategy. You can't say your strategy is that you hope that there won't be conflict. Hope is not a strategy. I will repeat it again. Hope is never and will never be a strategy. You must learn to have a strategy on time for conflict management. And what are these conflict management strategies, right? Conflict on media sets occurs when there are differences in ideas, role, communication, personality, or it can also due to pressure or expectation, right? And it disrupts teamwork, workflow, or even professionalism during production. And conflict is normal in creative environments. You should know that. It's something that is normal. It's something you see almost in every production environment, right? But when it's poorly managed, conflict damages production quality, relationship, and reputation. So we must learn as creatives how to manage conflict. Right? Because conflict management is so important because it protects production time. Unresolved conflict causes delays, retakes, and missed schedules. It helps maintain creative quality. And also it ensures safety on set and preserves relationship. We have been saying these things repeatedly. The creative media environment industry relies on relationship for repeat hires. So your ability to manage conflict, both as a director or as a team member, will actually increase your professionalism and make you liable or to be hired next time, right? So looking at this, right? Looking at this, conflict management is also quite important because it keeps authority on set and also reduces financial loss. If you don't want to lose money on set or have damaged equipment, you must learn how to manage conflicts professionally. Now, let's look at the common causes of conflict on sets. Now, if you understand the different causes of conflict on set, you will be able to understand how to manage it clearly. The very first one is what? Unclear roles. When you hire people and give them roles that are not clear, you are creating a potential conflict on set. Ambiguous responsibilities create overlap and confusion. The next thing that causes conflict on set is poor communication. Misunderstanding or harsh tone damages relationship. Another thing that causes conflict is what? Creative disagreement. When people disagree based on different artistic vision, they can clash. And without proper resolution, it can create serious conflict. Another factor that creates conflict is ignoring hierarchy. If you bypass the chain of command, it can create serious struggles. And we always see, you can see these ones on site, where people who are in the lower crew members jump their what departmental head and go and start discussing an issue with the director because they know them or they are from their village, instead of following the proper chain of command. Also, time pressure, tight schedules, can create what? Fatigue. And when it creates fatigue, it creates tension. People also can fight when what? When they are what? When they are under serious stress. Another thing that creates conflict on set is ego what? Clashes. When people who have high ego and excessive pride are on set, they might lack respect, and that will create serious ego clashes that might derail the production. Another thing that creates a whole lot of conflict on set is unmet expectation. People missing their deadlines or having poor quality in their work. It creates a whole lot of frustrations that will lead to serious conflicts. Apart from this, in the Nigerian setup, another thing that creates serious conflicts is welfare of the crew members. If you don't treat your crew members with respect and feed them sex, it might create a whole lot of problems on set because sometimes a hungry crew member is an angry crew member. Let's look at the principles of conflict management on set. One, if you have to resolve a conflict on set, learn to be professional, not personal. Focus on the work issues, not personality attack or grievances. You must also learn to respect hierarchies and roles, follow proper channels and authority structures when addressing conflict. You must also learn how to handle conflicts away from the full glare of everyone. Learn to address people privately, not addressing them publicly, right? It helps preserve their dignity and focus. So please learn how to deal with conflicts privately. If there is an issue, you see someone is not doing well or somebody is not meeting the deadline, call the person privately, right? And address the issue privately, not publicly. Also, you should learn how to make your case solution focus, not blame focus. Focus on the solution, concentrate on resolving the issue rather than assigning blames and faults. Is important. People will listen to you better when you are focused on the solution than assigning blames. Also, learn to be calm and timely and controlled. Address conflicts properly, but with composure and professionalism. Because see, we are discussing this conflict. Some of you might say, hey, why am I learning conflict? Is it important? It is so important because a mistake in conflict resolution might destroy the entire production. Now, let's look at step-by-step conflict management strategy, right? The step one is you need to identify conflict early. Observe tension, resistance, or frustration, and deal with them immediately. Don't ignore warning signs. It's important. When you start seeing people getting frustrated or looking agitated or tension building up, immediately address that conflict when it's still small than allowing it to aggravate. Also learn how to pause if necessary. Use control pauses, right? If safety or workflow is affected. Never continue filming when you see that there is high conflict brewing, right? Take your time, allow people to cool off and continue. So learn how to pause, right? Also, in conflict management, learn to report to your immediate supervisor. Is important, right? And you also need to escalate if it's necessary. So it's not every little issue you should escalate. When it's necessary, immediately escalate to your immediate, right, environment, supervisor. Also learn how to separate people from problems, right? Focus on the task, not personality. Avoid personal attacks. And also, when there is conflict, know also, and people are actually verbally abusing themselves, let's separate them, right? And talk to them privately, right? Then, if you are talking to them privately, make sure you listen to all sides. Allow each party to speak. Clarify facts and misunderstanding. It's important you allow both sides or different parties to an issue to speak. And they should also speak to you privately. Don't make them be speaking in the full glare of everyone. Right? At every point in time, also refer to your creative vision. Assuming if the conflict is on creative ideas, right? Someone wants to take the project to one the creative direction or the other. Always refer to the creative vision of the project, right? And also let supervisors make their final call. As a supervisor, make a final call, right? And your decision must be clear, firm, and respectful, right? And if need be, in a set to resolve the conflict, another good strategy is learn how to reassign tasks if needed to restore your working conditions, right? Make sure that if there are conflicts, you might remove some people and reassign tasks. Ensure that all understand expectations moving forward. So, and for every serious conflict on set, learn how to document it, right? Document conflict on set. Note repeated or serious issue, right? And since you also have a contract with your crew members, you could always evoke add those clauses that protects conflicts in your contract. Then also you must learn how to reflect, right, on the causes of conflicts, adjust your communications, your roles on your workflows for the future, so that after your review, you should be able to know what works best, what did not work, and how to avoid the mistakes in the future. Now, in conflict management, remember that your director has the final authority on creative disputes and major production conflicts. Your first AD or producer, right, has the what? The final, has the operational and handles the operational and scheduling conflicts, and also crew coordination issues. Your department heads manages the conflict within specific departments. So if there are issues in some specific departments, assign the department head should manage it and resolve them. As a crew member, if you're a crew member, your job should be report issues professionally through the proper channels. And for everyone involved in the creative production process, they must learn to maintain respect and professionalism at all times. Now, let's look at the professional conduct do and don'ts, right? The don'ts, the do's are what? You could always see that the do's and the don'ts are opposites of each other. You should always learn to arrive early and prepared on set, right? Know your role and tasks, follow chain of commands, communicate clearly and respectfully, use proper set terminology, maintain silence during takes, handle equipment with permissions, report hazard immediately, respect all team members, stay calm under pressure, and protect confidential content. The opposite of those things becomes the don't, which are that you should never arrive late or unprepared, right? Never be unclear about responsibilities, never bypass your supervisors, never argue or shout or set, never use vague or casual language, never talk or distract during recording, never touch equipment without authorization. This is important because some of you will just see equipment on set and start trying to use it to learn or start using them without authorization. Never ignore safety issues. Never disrespect or undermine others. Never create tension or panic on sets, and never share content without approval. It is quite important. Now, the major takeaway in building excellence as a creative media professional is to understand that teamwork is essential. No successful production happens alone. Collaboration drives quality and creativity. Also, communication is key. Clear professional communication prevents mistakes and builds trust across all departments. You also need to understand that professionalism builds career. Your reputation in the creative industry depends on how well you work with others. You also need to understand that conflicts are manageable. Professional conflict management protects production quality, safety, and relationship. Excellence in the creative media comes from talented individuals working together with professionalism, respect, and shared vision. Master these principles and you will thrive in the dynamic Nigerian creative industry. Your progress, your success is what we are advocating for. And if you follow the path of professionalism, the sky, it will be your starting point. At this juncture, I will take your questions. But before I take your questions, if you have enjoyed the lecture and the lecture has been of great value to you, please let us know with a round of applause or your comments in the comment section. So while so please, a round of applause. Let's see your applause in the if this has been of value to you. Let us know. Or you can also use your emoji, right? So also, if you have questions, right, please write them down. Please write them down. And if you have questions for today, please write them down in your comment section. If you're on live stream, please also write it down on the comments section. Okay. I'm moving over to the charts to take your question. Okay. I'm taking your questions. Christy is asking first question. What is first AD? First AD is the first assistant director. That's what it means, right? The second question is, which departments is in charge of food in a production set? It looks like you like food though. Christy, seems like you like food a lot. Okay, the people who are in charge of food in a production set is the welfare department. That's what is normally called a set, right? Then Ugochukwu Ebo is saying that you mentioned documenting conflict on set. What's the need? You need to document conflict. You need to document what are the issues, who were the ones creating issues on set for you, right? So that you write them down so that for tomorrow you know the people who are causing problems for you and avoid them, right? So you always have to learn to document conflicts on set. If two people fought on set, you can write that this person and this person, so that tomorrow if you're hiring and you have those notes, you can look and say, no, I'm not hiring this person. He fought on my set the other day, so I won't hire them. So, and also, since you are also documenting those, another person who is involved in the production can come along and see that and have an understanding of what happened on your set, right? Chimeremeze McBenson is saying, in the Nigerian productions, like Nollywood, which departments usually struggle the most with collaboration and why? And how can junior crew member help to fix this? The people who struggle the most are normally people in the creative roles. You might have a situation where the director have this creative direction, but the DOP has a different direction and how it should be shot, right? Or the producer do have, and it leads to struggles. And in most cases, as a junior crew member, you can't fix it. It is not your job to fix it because you are a junior crew member, right? It's only when they are fighting you can help separate the fights, right? But what we are teaching you will help you in your growth because one, understand how to manage these conflicts when they arrive, right? And things you can do to make sure that is resolved. As a junior crew member, one of the things you could do is to, if they are fighting, to separate them. If they are not fighting, your silence is necessary, right? Be silent. Don't go and take side. Because taking side will or sometimes escalate the whole thing. So it's important. Morjan to Shehu is saying, what's the difference between director and the first AD? The director is the ultimate guy on set. The first AD is the first assistant director. He's the assistant to the director. Most of the time, he handles scheduling and things like that and making sure that takes are done well and on time, right? You can have the first AD, the second assistant director, the third assistant director. These are different roles on sets. Then Chimares McBenson says the step 3 says skill is not enough. Choose character. What questions or red flags do I look for when hiring or recommending someone for a production team? Oh, that's a nice question. You need to also look at the background, the past work the person have done. Have the person been a good collaborator? Has he also been a good team member? This really helps to make sure that you get the best persons on sets, right? And like I said, always try to make sure you do a background check on the person you are going to hire, right? Don't just wake up and hire someone. Make sure you do some checks to be sure the person is a good fit for your production. Okay. More questions, please. Okay. If you're on YouTube live stream, please, you can ask your question in the comment section, right? Let's see your questions in the comment section if you're on YouTube live stream. Okay. Okay. And if you're on Zoom, please ask your questions. Okay. Let me check if there are any other questions I have not answered here. Okay. I'm seeing your questions. Someone is asking, for a new creative entering this space, what's the face of such in getting relationship to the past experience? That is why this is good to intern as a new creative, right? As a new creative, you could intern in some production. That all creates your portfolio, right? So internship is one of the things we recommend. And that is also one of the things we say in this program. Learn to intern because it creates your first portfolio. That question has been asked by Bishop Ayeni. Then Von La says, please, sir, is there a training on safety before going on site, like in local village? The lesson, we had last 2 lessons earlier, we did is on safety, right? Last 2 lessons we did is already on safety. So if you have not watched the lesson, you should be able to go and watch the lesson on YouTube. Follow us on YouTube and watch it so that you could understand safety, right? Then Enugu TM Gloria is asking, please, how do I add copyright to my script? Oh, that's a very fantastic question because we discussed copyright the last time, right? First of all, you need to understand the basic. Copyright exists automatically. You don't need to add, you don't add it. The moment you write your script and fix it in tangible form like MS Word, PDF, or notebook, right? Or even write a script on a notebook, a full notebook, it's already copyright protected. Publication is not allowed for copyright protection. That's one of the things you need to understand, right? What you only need to add is notice and proofs, not the right itself. The right is already available. So how do you add copyright notice to your scripts? So you need to add a copyright notice to your script. The first page of your script should have, right, you should place the title, right? Let's explain, let's give an example. The title of this thing is Broken Nights. Under that title script, you should write what? The year you did it, maybe 2026, Gloria work, all rights reserved. That's all already, if you put that in the front of your script, that is called a copyright notice, right? So, or you can write it in the front of that your screen. This script play is protected by copyright. Unauthorized copying, distribution, or performance is prohibited. So you should learn how to add the copyright notice in front of your script, even if it's a draft, right? That clearly asserts your ownership, put on the year and month that it was produced, and it deters casual theft. It also strengthens what? Your position in disputes, right? Another thing you should also add is what? You need to also create a proof of ownership. It's critical. A good example of creating a proof of ownership is a solid record of that script. Let me give you an example of what you can do. You can take that same script you have done, put it in PDF, and email it to yourself. That creates a record, right? A record that is admissible in court. That on these dates, I emailed myself this script. So that if you want to prove to anybody that you are the original owner of this script, that you didn't just author it immediately, you can always refer, right, to that date, that email you made yourself of that script, right? You can also upload it to Google Docs so that you have the cloud timestamp of that script. That is also another way to protect it. The strongest way you can also protect your script is what is called the notarized affidavit, right? It is very strong. So you print the script, visit a lawyer, and sign an affidavit of authorship. So at any point in time, anybody uses that script, you have every evidence and proof, right, of that you own that script. Then another thing you could also do is that you can register the script with with the Writers Guild of Nigeria, which they have a database for scripts. So to always prove your ownership. So once you do all these three things, you already have noticed that you have made claim to your script at your script level. I hope I've answered your question, right? Then Prince Ugozo Charles is saying, can infringement of copyright be enforced without legal registration with the Copyright Commission? No, you don't need any legal registration with the Copyright Commission for you to do that. For every creative work produced, art creation is protected by copyright. It doesn't need to be published. And I've mentioned how you can protect your work that in ways that are legal, right? Then Juma Emos Ali is saying, good evening, sir. Concerning today's class I missed, was able to download the app. And by today's class, I know I missed a lot yesterday. Please, if you missed the class, you can always go to the Link School app, right? And also, if you're following us on YouTube, you should know that every of the lessons we are doing are recorded, and you can always watch them. So all the links to all the classes will be published in all the groups, so that if you have missed anyone, you could always watch them. So all this recording of all the classes are on YouTube, right? So I think I've answered every question, right? Please Let me check if there are some questions answered on YouTube. Okay, fine. I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing any questions. Please, if you have enjoyed this, please like it on YouTube, like this live stream on YouTube, and share it. If you have enjoyed this, then do this simple thing as a way of appreciation for what we have done, for all the effort we put in this class. Like it on YouTube. You can go to YouTube. We are putting the live stream link on the chat session if you're on Zoom, right? If you're on Zoom, we are putting the live stream section of this. Please ensure you like it, share it, and comment on what you have learned on this video. So please, at this juncture also, put the live stream link on the YouTube. At this juncture also, we thank you all for your attention, and you guys have been some of the best persons to lecture at any point in time. And I thank you all for your lecture, for your time you have used in listening through out this lecture. As you share, like, and share on YouTube, we also thank you. And if you have really enjoyed today's lecture, please indicate that, show us that with a round of applause and on both and with your emoji, so that we feel appreciated and we can have the strength to continue producing the works that is required to make you learn. Thank you, everyone. And have a pleasant evening.